And welcome to the first episode of the CIBA podcast. If you don't know, you're going to know. And CIBA is a community that we founded in like 5 years ago now. It's the 5th year.
It's a long time.
Yeah. And the objective of the community is to get together and talk about Italian culture, Italian cuisine. What does it mean to be Italian in 2023? In this side of the world, really the end of the world, from the perspective of the geography of the West. So for this first episode, I just want already to scramble things around. So CIBA is an acronym for Cucina Italiana nella Bay Area. For this first episode, I want to scramble and exchange the C from cucina to cultura. When we talk about cultura, I can't imagine a better guest than Anna Maria di Giorgio.
Oh, thank you. That's a pleasure. Thank you.
And if you don't know Maria, I want to introduce herself. And first of all, we are in this beautiful place. Where are we right now?
So right now we are at the Italian Cultural Institute in the spaces of the so-called Innovit. Innovit is a new project of the Italian Ministry for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. They asked us to merge culture and innovation here in San Francisco and the Bay Area. So inside this building, there is the Italian Cultural Institute operating, the Italian Trade Agency with 2 desks, and the Innovation Hub for accelerating startups. And the aim is to merge culture and innovation and to show the world that Italy is, of course, food, design, classic movies, well, the things we are very known in the world for, but it's also innovation.
Fantastic. Yeah, when I think about all this convergence of different arts, I think about Leonardo da Vinci. I was just talking to a friend about designing and engineering, and in Italy it's pretty normal to have designers and engineers in the same person, but also people that love food and science and everything together. So this is definitely one of those amazing temples where a lot of interesting convergences can happen.
Yeah, and if I may, here on the background, you may see some works of art from an exhibition we opened in May. It's called Artificial Botany, and it's from a few works, a laboratory in Emilia-Romagna in Italy. Mm-hmm. And this is to show you exactly what we are trying to do here. So merging culture and innovation. This is this company fed the algorithm with the images taken from the Renaissance herbarium or other plants and flowers images. Mm-hmm. The artificial intelligence is elaborating them, but then they are recreating work of art using traditional techniques, very old artisanal craftsmanship mm-hmm. techniques. So you just have a hint of what we do or we're trying to do here.
Fantastic. So Anna Maria, you are basically the synonym of Italian culture for me here in this place. Let me explain why. Because I have this relationship with culture, and the culture in Italy, I come from a background of non-profit, and seeing all these figures in Italy that really strive, like there are this power horses of culture that try to engage, to create situation, to put people together, etc. So you've been very pivotal, for example, for a lot of members of CIBA that met, and also you've been like very much pivotal for that, for the association. So I'm very interested in how you got into culture. And first of all, what is your role here?
So I'm the director of the Italian Cultural Institute, so the cultural sector of Innovit. Mm-hmm. And the Italian Cultural Institutes in the world, they depend on the Italian Ministry for Foreign Affairs. They are now 84, I think, in the world. Wow. In the United States, we have 6 Italian Cultural Institutes, and we cooperate with Italian consulates and on the Italian missions. Mm-hmm. And of course, the embassy in Washington, D.C. that coordinates us. And yes, what we try to do is bridging basically United States and Italy, and through cultural events and language promotion.
Absolutely. So before Annamaria came here in San Francisco, tell me a little bit where you come from, because you're kind of the ad honorem president of the Abruzzo delegation of CIBA.
Yeah, I come from Abruzzo region, but not only Abruzzo, I'm half, otherwise my family would then really got angry. But I'm half from Abruzzo and half from Marche region, so my grandparents are from Marche, the other two grandparents are from Abruzzo, but I was raised in Abruzzo until I was 18 years old, and then I moved to Rome to attend university in Oriental languages, then history of art. Then I had a master in international relationships, and then I entered the Ministry for Foreign Affairs as a cultural attaché.
Oh, awesome. By the way, today I was looking into your LinkedIn profile and you speak too many languages for me.
No, I don't. I mean, I understand all these languages. I speak, I can like be understood, let's say. Yeah.
Oh, the cool stuff, definitely. So you come from Abruzzo, that is one of my favorite regions. I have so many friends from Abruzzo.
Yeah.
And one thing that I love from Abruzzo is that it has a lot of like, it's a strong region in terms of like the feelings, and it's close to the heart. It's so intense, and that's what I love about that.
Yeah, maybe I would choose this. I would have chosen this definition too, intense. We also say the proverb says Abruzzesi forti e gentili, strong and kind. And and Pescara, the city where I come from, it's actually something a little bit different from the classic Abruzzo one comes to mind when one thinks about Silone or the mountain part of Abruzzi. That's Pescara is the city without wrinkles, la città senza rughe. It was defined la città senza rughe because it's the newest city. It's very rich. People is very friendly because it's on the Adriatic Sea, and food, it's amazing.
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
So whereas the internal Abruzzo, it's far more, I wouldn't say riservato.
Discreet,
people
maybe.
is more discreet, yes. Pescara is more extra flex, everything on the on the social side.
Yeah.
So also conviviality and food, and enjoying food together and wine together. Yeah.
Amazing city. And one of the things that I would like to record in this podcast is memories. And I want to start, because we're going to go to the C as cucina. I wanted to ask you, tell me a little bit about your first memories with cooking, those like little initial glimpses. How far back can you go in your memory? And tell me a little bit about that time.
Very, very far back, and some memories are linked to the Marche, where my beloved grandmother lived in a very, very small village of 16 people, now 6. And wow. It's very famous for la vernaccia di Serra Petrona, so it's very famous. But it's a very, very small place. And I was 3 years old, and my grandmother and a friend of her, they were cooking together zucchini flowers. I still remember, and I was offered one. It wasn't my home, so we were like with this friend of my grandmother there, and she was cooking for her family, and my grandmother was helping, but it wasn't my home, so the zucchini flowers weren't for me, but I was like salivating watching her making this flower. She offered me one, and it was an explosion in my mouth, and so after that, I wanted more, but I was ashamed to ask. But so my life was, all my life was looking. I was always looking. I'm always actually looking for zucchini flowers. And I found zucchini flowers in the United States 2 weeks ago in New Mexico, used as ornamental plants in a vase, and I wanted to steal every of them to make zucchini flowers, a field zucchini flowers.
Fantastic, when it's also attached to a little zucchini and then they fry it together.
Yeah, with mozzarella. In Rome, of course, with mozzarella and anchovy, but here, the one I have, like my Madeleine, the one I remember was plain with just pastella, yes, dog.
Fantastic. Marche, another amazing region. And Vernaccia Serra Petrona, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Vernaccia Serra Petrona, there's also a Sagra every year in August. It's very famous. A lot of people is coming to the region because we have two Vernaccios in Italy. Well, I don't want to declare something, but the most famous one are the one in Serra Petrona and the one in Sardinia. So
Fantastic. Marche and Abruzzo are these two kind of regions that we try to keep
a little bit hidden for us.
And they're amazing. I mean, I spent 10 years of my life in Marche and a lot of friends from the coast. Tell me another memory.
Another memory, I still long every day of my life for the broth that my grandmother cooked. So every time I went back to her in this tiny village from Rome or from Berlin, when I was appointed back to Berlin and my missions in the world, I was always asking her, please, Nonna, make me the broth. And she said, it's summertime. Why should I cook your broth for you? Or sometimes also she said, do you have to breastfeed? Because in the past times, people was used, to eat broth every time you need to breastfeed because it's supposed to produce milk. So yeah, she was having fun of me every time. So I still long for her. Unfortunately, she passed. But the thing I miss most from a food point of view is her broth, of classic one.
That's so interesting because I would have said rostelle.
No, I mean, rostelle is a huge component of Abruzzo cuisine. This is Marche, again, this is Marche.
Okay.
For thinking about Abruzzo, so the main difference is, the hand of the cook, of the chef for what concerns oil use. So Marche, people are a little bit obsessed with money, and so they don't use a lot of oil or a lot of grease to cook. A lot of spices, no oil, basically. Whereas Abruzzo people, my grandmother in Abruzzo used 33 centiliters of oil for a ragu for 4, meaning that there were traces of ragu in the oil, basically.
Yeah.
Traces of tomato in the oil. So, and the color is so intense, it seems like phosphorescent. It's orange, like a glowing orange. And so, yes, of course, it has a lot of taste because it's a lot of oil and grease, and it's super good, of course. So coming to Abruzzo, arrosticini is for sure one of the most beloved dishes in my region. These are tiny spiedini. Help me out here, spiedini.
Skewers?
Skewers, yes, of sheep meat. But the thing I love most is delle pallotte. So pallotte, cacio e ovo. This is the most amazing dish that my region, Abruzzo, is poorer compared to historically Abruzzo was a poorer region compared to Marche, because Marche was in the center of Italy and it was the so-called Regno Pontificio, so it was wealthy, whereas Abruzzo was a land of pastori, di sheep. Pastori.
Wait.
Silvia Pastori. Shepherds. Thank you.
We have dalla regia.
From la regia, Silvia Meredo alla console, shepherds, and so it was a poorer region, and so they used, of course, all the products that sheep gave. So sheep gave. So in this case, pallotte cacio e ovo is made are cheese balls made with rigatino cheese. That's a sort of parmesan coming from sheep, and. Parmesan sometimes, and bread basically. Then these cheese balls are fried and then put in tomato, boiling in tomato, sometimes with onion, sometimes not. The tomato and basil, let's say, it's a classic recipe for. So they are huge. This seems like a cheese balls, a sort of souffle with tomato, but fried. So inside seems like a souffle, a cheese souffle, then they're fried, then they are drawn in tomato and basil.
Wow. Throwback moment. Do you remember Pippo Kennedy show?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. There was, we were talking about 1990 something, and there was Corrado Guzzanti that was playing this character called Dottor Livore. That was always like with pills and stuff, but the characteristic from a doctor also was interesting, that his wife was from Abruzzo.
She was
also frying stuff.
Yeah. We fry everything.
Perché devo metterci dopo a colori? Se poi le scale puzzano di gatto, e il gatto puzza di fritto perché è il gatto abruzzese di mia moglie.
Yes, we fry everything. And my grandmother, we have a joke with a friend here in San Francisco. The first time he met me, he said, "You are from Abruzzo." Yeah, so we were, talking. Said, "My grandmother is from Abruzzo. She only fries stuff. Whatever she fries, whatever she finds." When I come back from San Francisco, she starts frying 2 days in advance. So that's true. That's true.
I need to find a good recipe for pallotte caciove so we can put it as a link.
Yeah, I can write it down, of course, something, the traditional one. Another very famous dish from Pescara, my region, is the so-called brodetto dello pescatore. So the brodetto means a fish soup. And it's basically... a fish soup made of a lot of small fishes. Sometimes the fishes that were trapped in the net. Mm-hmm. So not the a la mode fishes nowadays. Like today, you buy shrimps or things that also are costly. Mm-hmm. But the poorest ones. The poorest ones that maybe the fishermen's try to save from the net after they sold the fish to the market. And it's super tasty, and it's done with another ingredient that's central to the region, and especially Pescara, that's called the farfellone. And it's a kind of a sweet pepper that's dried in the air, hanging, like in New Mexico for chili. It's a chili that it's a sweet chili that dries, and then it's crushed in a mortar, in a wooden mortar with salt, and it's added to the fish preparation, fish pasta with vongole, with clams, or with brodetto. And the base is always farfellone and conserva di pomodoro, so it's very concentrated and a lot of oil.
Of course.
The color is always glowing orange.
You said something about Marche being a little richer because it was connected with the Stato della Chiesa, with the church state.
They have the different histories. Marche was, even if they are two regions that are bordering regions. Marche was in the considered central part of Italy, and it was ruled by the Pope historically, whereas Abruzzi is even if it's close to Rome on the same, it's Abruzzi is considered southern Italy, and it was ruled by the Bourbons. So it's the cuisine of Abruzzo is very similar, at least in Pescara, but not only. I would say it's very similar to the cuisine of Napolitan, of Campania and in Naples. With some French influences, because Teramo, another province in Abruzzo, was influenced by French. So they have specific French, like all they do is with crepe more than with pasta. So they do a timballo that's very famous with small, very, very small meatballs inside. This is timballo, it's French, or the so-called scrippelle in busta, another amazing dish that I try to eat at Christmas. That's a crepe with parmesan in broth.
Oh, wow.
And this is from all the things that were from crepe, let's say. They come from this French influence in this region that is, in this province that is maybe the less known one, Teramo, but it's very interesting from a culinary point of view.
Remind me, the bread in Abruzzo has salt, right?
That's a good question, but I would say yes, because my family comes from Marche, where the bread has no salt, and my mom, every time she goes to the supermarket in Abruzzo, she said, don't buy the salt bread here in Abruzzo, they only have salty bread. So yeah, it's like Dante in the Commedia, il pane sciapo, no?
Il pane sciapo.
Senti come saprà di sale il pane quando sei in esilio. My mom feels in exile. She wants to go back to Marche and Umbria to eat unsalted bread.
What I really like about every conversation that we had over time is that you cover this institutional role, and you have this very important role here. And I think, especially in these establishments where we are connected with Italy, having a cultural, like being the engine of cultural events, etc., is fundamental for us. But even if you have this institutional role, at the same time you always carry with you this authenticity that where you come from. And it's really, really nice. And especially in CIBA, that's really something that we try to protect, because we don't want to dilute too much those like kernels of historical memories and culinary wisdom that come from the past. One of them, we did a long conversation in the group one time. We're both on Facebook, we're on Discord, and also on Instagram, ciba.community, and also www.ciba.community as website. So we talked about spaghetti and meatballs here in the US. And one time, Italia Squisita made this video where there was this chef from Tortoreto, I think, or that was preparing the pallottine, pasta con le pallottine.
Yes. It's chitarra so the traditional one is chitarrina. So the pasta is made with a so-called guitar. Chitarra is an instrument to cut pasta. So it's a sort of tagliatella, but thicker than tagliatella.
My favorite, and, like square section,
square
right?
Section with eggs, pasta with eggs, and then you have to make these meatballs that traditionally needs to be big, like the tip of your fingernail.
Oh.
Of this.
So very small.
So very small. They are called pallottine. Pallottine meaning small meatballs. And so it's also very a huge preparation, because the chef needs to prepare these 1,000 meatballs, tiny meatballs, to make the chitarra con le pallottine. And it can be compared to of course with pasta and meatballs in the United States. Actually in Teramo, where Teramo is one of the places where this pasta con le pallottine can be easily found. This is a sort of art, and it's a very elegant dish. It's not something you improvise, because it's demanding for it's time demanding, and also they need to be soft but very small. So it's a delicacy, actually. Yes.
And what I love about that video, and thank you for your contribution here, is that we somehow busted the myth that spaghetti and meatballs is something that comes from United States. So it has there's roots in Italy, also in Neapolitan cuisine. They're still like very connected with Abruzzo. So, and where I'm from, in Salento, we used to make polpettine, like meatballs with horse meat, which is in the US eating horse. I pezzetti di cavallo, of course. So the idea of small meatballs, especially with potage, with minestrone, etc., is a traditional thing.
With minestrone, we don't, for example. So I don't know any tradition in Abruzzo or Marche where meatballs are used in potage. But what was done is that when, for example, my grandmother in Abruzzo, in this case, she cooked the ragu for the pasta on Sunday, making involtini, meat involtini, and lo spezzatino, and you will translate these very specific terms for me. Spezzatino. La regia, spezzatino, ti viene in mente? Lo spezzatino. Perché se lo leggo lo so, però così non mi viene adesso.
I love this.
The stew, yeah, okay, the stew perché sì, forse lo stew, sì. In any case, she prepared the rolls, so the meat rolls, and with inside this celery, carrot, and onion, and then the stew and the meatballs, and she made this ragu for the pasta that had all these tiny pieces of meat inside. But what you do is that you use only the sugo, you only use the tomato sauce, and you prepare the meat for later, like a secondo dish, you know.
I see.
But sometimes, especially kids, they wanted the meatballs inside the pasta, smashed inside the pasta, you know. So sometimes, not only the kids, of course.
Yeah.
So usually, I think this is what happened. You prepared on Sunday when you had meat. You prepared the ragu for the pasta. You used the tomato, and the second dish was eating the meat that was inside the sugo.
And that's one of the things that I always try to kind of emphasize about Italian cuisine, that we really try to maximize the pleasure of enjoying an experience of eating, even just destructuring the experience in multiple steps from the same one.
To keep it longer.
Exactly.
You know, because the thing is, you want to stay at the table because table is conviviality, and table is also a ritual. For example, I never eat, or I try not to eat in front of a computer, because I really need that moment of during my day. I need that ritual. I need to stop and eat to enjoy the moment and to separate the different parts of the day. Otherwise, it seems like, you know, something that's all mixed together. It's not only having someone eating with you that, of course, is always a plus, but it's also if you're alone enjoying the simplest of meal, but interrupting the activity, you know, scandire il giorno.
It gives value to that moment and gives rhythm to your day.
Exactly.
And I think this is one of the things that we need to protect very much, because there is some transcendental meditation of like being in the moment for a second. The same thing about drinking an espresso.
Yeah, exactly.
Like enjoying that moment of intensity, and it's short and intense, and it's really like trying to be in the moment.
Not so meditative, you're right. I mean, sometimes I work intensely for 2 or 3 hours looking forward that moment, but it's not because I really need coffee physically, because I need to, you know, stay alive and perform. It's because I'm looking forward to something that's maybe small and a small pause, but I'm looking forward to it, and it helps me out focusing, knowing that that moment will come.
Fantastic.
I think this is also maybe one of the essential characteristics of Italian, and the way they approach to food and rituals.
Absolutely. So definitely teaching and communicating the value of rhythm, the value of intensity, and enjoying the moment, and also making sure that we communicate the right terms and the right pronunciation of things.
Yeah, especially I want to...
Give me a couple.
No, there's only one. I'm here as a director of the Italian Cultural Institute, and my mission is accomplished after 5 years. If I will have this result of people knowing it's actually pistacchio and not pistachio. And that's my personal battle. So I've been trying to fight here, pistacchio, bruschetta. And when you have in doubts, think about Pinocchio, because you know how to pronounce Pinocchio. So Pinocchio is like pistacchio and like bruschetta, and that's my goal, actually.
Pistacchio, Pinocchio. We should make a t-shirt. Pistacchio, Pinocchio, another one.
Bruschetta.
Bruschetta, malocchio.
Malocchio. Occhio, malocchio, prezzemolo e finocchio, to cite a very famous movie, because again, we promote culture here. So
yeah, Lino Banfi, of course, Banfi. The scene in the bathtub with the
exactly.
Occhio malocchio, prezzemolo e finocchio. E come battizzo contro il malocchio. Con il peperoncino e un po' di insalata mi protegge la Madonna dell'Ingoroneta.
So one of the things that I'm sad about is that you're actually living in San Francisco. Before you tell me what's next for you, I wanted to ask you, where have you been before San Francisco?
To Berlin, and I followed my husband, that is a colleague of mine, to Warsaw, and we've been together a little bit in Madrid.
Okay. So...
For work.
Yes, okay. So my curiosity is, in your role, you also observe a lot, you organize a lot. If I check the list of your projects, a kind of a standing list of things that you've been organizing, communication, of course, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But from your observation, have you noticed some differences in the way the American culture approaches the Italian culture, or the German culture approaches the Italian culture? Any insight on that?
They are always different. It's always different. For example, when we were in Poland, people was really into Italy so much, and they were studying Italian as we study English in Italy. So it was very moving. In United States, it was also. I have to say we are always very welcomed and always well received, and people actually loves Italy, and so the work is not such a hard job. Here you have, of course, also Italo-Americans. That it's something different because there is a huge community of Italo-Americans. Then you have the Italians that came, like you, young Italians that came for working in technology or in San Francisco. So this is a specific community again. And then you have the Americans that love Italy, for example. This is they are so in love with Italy, but I understand they focus on Tuscany often, Tuscany region. Now in Sicily, because of the HBO series, The White Lotus.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of people is into Sicily now. Again, I don't want to spoil all the secrets of the regions, but there are regions in Italy that are really not so well known, and they need to be discovered. And they need to be, and they are amazing, and they are cheap, and they have amazing food, and so I think it's very interesting to get lost a little bit in Italy.
I try to explain to my friend that even if you are in Rome, you live in Rome, one lifetime might not be enough to actually really explore and getting the knowledge of the city.
Rome, for sure. Rome it's never ending.
Right.
Naples is never ending too, even if it's smaller. And there are so many things.
And imagine like the whole territory of Italy that spans from coasts to hills to mountains, etc.
It's very similar to California, I would say. So like Abruzzo is very similar. Now I'm saying something, but Abruzzo and California actually share something. They are very close to the Pescara is very close to it's on the sea basically. But after 30 minutes, in 30 minutes you are in the mountains, in Gran Sasso, Maiella, and you have many hills, so sometimes
Un trabocco ci starebbe.
Il trabocco could be nice in Santa Cruz. Trabocco is old wooden construction built by fishermen, and they mounted the nets to fish on the coasts of Abruzzo, and now they are reconverted in restaurants often, and you can go there and eat fish.
Fantastic.
And there's the Costa dei Trabocchi, that it's a very nice place to visit, for example, and not so famous. Yeah.
Awesome.
Piccolo spazio pubblicitario.
By the way, one small parenthesis. I remember this rapper from Abruzzo is one of my favorites ever, called Luix. And there's a line in which he says, Arcor come il giornale, come la papalina fritta al mio paese.
Ah, sì, la papalina.
What is the papalina?
La papalina is a small fish. Is the maybe you call them. They have many names in Italy. These are the bianchetti, papaline, mainati. Okay. It's a small fish, white fish. They are so tiny.
Like this
I'm
size.
not eating them anymore. Even if I think they are the most amazing fish in the world, I don't want to eat them, because in order to make a frittella out of them, you have to, use, I don't know, 100 of bianchetti, so it's or papaline, and so it's depleting the sea. And we also want to, now we are obliged to observe a so-called fermo biologico, the fishing stops, because well, I think also in Puglia I was reading they captured so many sea urchins that they didn't have the time to reproduce, and now they have to stock them. So I don't want to, this kind of intensive fishery to deplete.
I remember it.
But I have to say that the papaline and le frittelle di papaline is something incredible. Yes.
The whole seafood experience that you can have on the east and the west coast of Italy, it's incredible.
Yeah, they are different but incredible. Yes.
I remember when I studied sommelier some years ago, my professor used to tell this story of how the Arabs coming north on the Italian coast introduced the concept of alcohol plus coffee. For example, if you go to Fano, there's Morietta di Fano, or if you go south, Porto San Giorgio, etc., there's the Caffè del Marinaio, which is coffee with rum or other things. Do you have something like that in Abruzzo?
I don't know actually, because I don't drink a lot of liquore, so. And my stepfather, that I loved a lot, he always sent this meal with caffè corretto al San Marzano Borsci. So I don't know if it was Abruzzo or if it was him, or I can tell you now. But
caffè corretto in general.
We have after the coffee, we always have of course the liquore, and the Abruzzo liquore par excellence is la Genziana. It's very, very bitter. It's super bitter. But it's very good, and this is the classic after coffee. Ammazza caffè, it's another very useful word to be learned in Italian. The ammazza caffè, the so-called kill coffee, because it comes after the coffee, and to digest apparently. I don't know if it's really digestive or if only gives you gastritis, but we want to believe
it's a healthy addition to
that very, very heavy meal.
I think I remember somebody in my family gave me an explanation of why it is actually helping, but I don't remember it. So, before we get into the end of it, I am still very interested in the cultural aspect of your life and what actually made you to converge to do this job and follow this path in your life. I have a question that is 3 questions. You can answer me later if you want, but I always ask, like I had this, like I'm going to ask to all the people that I meet this question that is, tell me one book, one movie, and one record, music record.
Okay, music record, I was... My uncle, I grew with my uncle, and so I listened to the music he listened. I was 18 when I was born, so I was born in 81, but it was like I was born in 65 or 70s for music taste. So I would say for sure all the music of the Queen, because I had this made for this Freddie Mercury is actually my personal myth, but. That's aside, I would say Wish from The Cure. So the best album ever for me, Wish from The Cure. Or Disintegration from The Cure. You choose one in any case.
Okay.
Yeah. With maturity, I would say The Cure, Wish, or Disintegration. From a sentimental point of view, I would say Queen. For books, Il secondo diario minimo di Umberto Eco, because it actually changed my entire life. I read this when I was really almost, I would say, a child. I was like 9 years old. There's this funny part of the book, the only one I could understand at that age, called Le bustine di Minerva. There were guides to do something very ironic, and so I think I developed the irony because of that book, and then I was interested in Eco, and it changed the way I think somehow. And what the movie is the hardest. Yeah, I should say an Italian movie. I know, because we are talking about Italy, but that's cheesy, but I would say Labyrinth with David Bowie.
Oh, okay.
Because I was a child and I fell in love with this movie and all the fantasy it represented. But let me think about an Italian movie that I can share with you. So
You told me an Italian book, which is fine. You can tell me an Italian album as well.
yeah, I can tell you an Italian album. Indie Italian music, a little bit from the 90s. I found interesting the Blue Vertigo so yes, I would say, but just the first things that I like that comes to my mind, not exhaustive, not the best probably, but the first thing that comes to my mind now. And for Vinicio Capostela, of course. Sorry, I did. Yes, I would say all the entire work of Vinicio Capostela.
Tell me one from Abruzzo.
Search.
On this one.
Well, Abruzzo. Yeah, you already named Luix, but mi viene solo Vola Vola perché
I don't know.
Vola Vola is a traditional Abruzzo song that now it's been used by Crozza to imitate a politician, an Italian politician, so it was ruined a little bit. But it's a popular song. Vola Vola Vola.
I can put it at the end of this episode.
Awesome. And
Italian movie.
Sorry, a movie. Yeah, Il Gattopardo for sure.
Visconti.
Yeah, Il Gattopardo di Visconti. Yeah, I will stick to Il Gattopardo di Visconti. For the books also. Natalia Ginsburg. Yeah, Fabio Genovesi. I like his style a lot. Some books we could discuss for ages. Italian movies that really, Italian movies are not what I would call entertaining from a US point of view. They can be very intense. And all the commedia all'italiana, in its comedy there's always drama, so also that. Totò, Miseria e Nobiltà, it's a genius. I would like to organize something dedicated to Totò, but it's very difficult to be translated.
Oh yeah.
TV series Zero Calcare with the new series on Netflix, or Zero Calcare in its entire production. And then I don't want to repeat, we have been organizing a lot of retrospective, like Elio Petritz, the super interesting Italian director that needs to be rediscovered here, also in the United States. That Monica Vitti, we organized a special.
Yeah, I remember.
Special day dedicated to Monica Vitti. So there are too much. I really like I blank because there is too much.
No, but thank you. A lot of interesting pointers for people to go and take a look if they're interested in Italian culture, for sure. So we're almost at the end, but I don't want you to go. Like in general, I don't want you to leave San Francisco, because we spent so many great events together, and all the things that you organized here, but also with CIBA, etc. So tell me, where are you going?
To Barcelona.
That's not bad at all.
No, not bad. I'm very sorry to leave California. I really would have liked to stay like 2 or 3 years more to enjoy US and the nature of this place is amazing all around San Francisco. And I saw, in Pacifica, one evening at sunset, I saw a whale breaching. And so these are experiences that you never get. Or also in my backyard, the raccoons, looking for my stuff in the backyard. And we are animal lovers, so we really like these things and these amazing like otters or something that you see in Morro Bay. So I really wanted to stay longer. And also, after working hard to be in this place, Italian Cultural Institute in Innovit, now it's the moment to enjoy, and I'm going. But yes, of course, I'm going to Barcelona. It's an amazing. It's closer to home, closer to Abruzzo. I think that I will enjoy a lot of things to eat, very interesting things to eat, and so
For sure.
I can say I'm unhappy about that.
You can do CIBA, Cucina Italiana Barcellona.
Exactly, and you can come and we can found it.
Let's do it. Pallottine in Barcelona.
Pallotte cacio e ovo always. In Berlin I was famous with my friends because I always made pallotte cacio e ovo. Then I brought them here into San Francisco because I asked to a restaurant for an Abruzzo evening if they could offer pallotte cacio e ovo. So that happened with Donatella Di Pietrantonio, the writer. So we ate pallotte cacio e ovo there, and I hope to bring pallotte cacio e ovo also in Barcelona, yes.
I'm getting hungry.
My institutional niche, my institutional goal.
Yes. Too much about food. I didn't expect all this salivation now. Really, for the end of this, I wanted to just get a little, not serious, but like get closer to the heart. And the world is being a little crazy, and wake up every day with like news of climate change and wars and things. I don't want to make it dark, but what are your hopes for the future? Share one of your hopes.
Well, first of all, I think that we should move slower, any of us. And this could help, of course, also the climate change focus on what's important and central in everyday life, not to be always in this sort of tourbillon of events. And it seems like, we are moving too fast. And after the pandemic, I saw people had learned to move slower. Instead, it didn't happen. Now it's like a domino effect. Everyone is moving faster and faster. I would say, in English is not as good as in Italian, but riappropriarsi del proprio tempo, and focusing on the things we love, and more than the people we love, and taking it slower could help the world a lot, and the mental stability, and helping the mental stability also a lot of issues like violence and all these things, and the other thing is we should also eating, as we are talking with CIBA. I think that also eating needs to be the way we eat needs to be we need to think to rethink the way we eat, the way we buy our food, the food chain. So go local, go slower. A little bit of what also Slow Food said in past times. Go local, go slower. Focus on conviviality, on the people we love, because life is short, and YOLO, as they say here. And probably this will also frustrate us less, produce less violence, produce less frustration, produce less pollution, and it's of course it's only a wish, but what I wish is for the world to understand the value of live the moment, be focused on the moment you're living, and live slower, let's say. Yeah, and with this, I'm really grateful that you joined us. No, I am grateful. Grazie a tutti, grazie a Giuliano for his amazing, CIBA is a volunteer association, so it's something that helps out all the Italian that welcomes all the Italian that arrives in the Bay Area, and advice for restaurants, and advice for good food, and also they organize football matches, right? Sometimes.
Yes, impromptu.
No, what I want to say is that conviviality, it's something that you value, that you help people obtain when they come here. So it's very important. And even if we are an institution, is what I've been trying to do, and I wish I mean, and I hope I did in a little part, even because the pandemic was hard to, it was 2 years of pandemic, but I hope I also have contributed with the IAC and my amazing staff that I thank in this occasion to help people feeling at home. That's why, to help people feeling connected to Italy, to bridge Italy and US. Why not through cooking, through cuisine, through the pleasures in life.
Thank you so much. I'll see you in Barcelona.
Of course, I wait for all the CIBA community in Barcelona for tapear.
Exactly.
In Abruzzo.
In Abruzzo, of course. I'll definitely come to Abruzzo again to see all my friends, and hopefully we'll meet with the rest of the folks here in the Bay Area. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. In order to get in the Facebook room, you need to answer a question. Very difficult question, but that's really what creates...
It's debate.
And thank you very much for being with us. And
grazie a tutti, grazie Giuliano, grazie.
Till next time.